Hey, Eric, thank you so much for getting us started on this project for the videos. As a school administrator and a fairly new school administrator at that, I can share in your concern, especially after we've gone through just like all of these studies, like I don't know, what is it, like 20 studies or something like that, that are essentially saying, how do you build community and consensus when the lines of communication have dissolved so much that we are bringing in the law, right? So this due process, and that's a really scary as an administrator who is then like turning to their teachers and saying, oh, the best mode of communication is contacting parents about when your kid does something awesome, and make sure that when you're reaching out, you're always reaching out about positives first. And I think, from a parent perspective, um, I think it's important to remember that I don't think they would like publish studies or maybe like especially like large scale studies like we were looking at, where it's a whole district or it's a whole longitudinal study over time of like when things go really well, because then things are working and you're not seeing that side of community and consensus building, because the community and the consensus is already built. Um, last year in my school, we actually didn't have a special services coordinator, and Kim can definitely talk more to this. So it ended up being me. And I felt like I was so unprepared for a lot of what was thrown at me because I just didn't know the law as much as I should have. And that was like really, really scary, but it made me kind of realize like where parents are coming from more. And I'm not a parent. So it kind of helped me frame like their perspective more of like, okay, well, they don't know what's going on either. So it's like, like that knowledge base of like, how do we kind of make these more nebulous concepts or best practices within special education, like how do we kind of disseminate that knowledge so that it doesn't go straight to just like, okay, uh we're going straight to due process hearings. I know that in our literature it was like really, really limited about what school districts are doing right now to avoid due process. But I think it definitely comes down to before that, not even avoiding due process, if that's actually like, the last resort. How are we increasing this knowledge? I know on our texting thread, because of course, all three of us being neurodivergent, so we can't just have one single stream of communication, right? No, it's got to be six streams of communication in every way. It came up that maybe Kim and I are doing a JD after our PhDs because of just the sheer amount of knowledge that we have to know in order to meet the needs of all of our students. And that's pretty wild. I think that's really, really wild. But I'd love to know like your guys' thoughts on like how you imagine growing a knowledge base, not just for school administrators like me, but for teachers and for parents, like what that looks like in your mind. Because I don't really know. I don't really know, but I know that I don't have enough knowledge to meet everyone's needs. And I know that my parents and my school don't necessarily have all of the knowledge of how to best help their students, especially through what you're going through, Eric, where it is kind of a brave new world sort of a thing where you are just entering into the amazing world of special education, and what we can kind of do to front load that well before we get to a point where your students' needs aren't being met, or the process of services are just not happening, like where that knowledge can come from, who gets to, share that, and how it's kind of shared. And maybe it's these videos. maybe we're making short form videos about the process of entering into special education, what it looks like, what some best practices are. I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys who are far more knowledgeable than I in it, certainly. And yeah, looking forward to next steps there. See you guys soon.